Okay, in the previous video I showed you how to get the context from the main class. We can also work with that within the test context. So here, the Spring Boot Spring Initializer creates this test here. So it's a JUnit 5 test. It is annotated with Spring Boot test. And that annotation tells the test to create a Spring context. And what we can do here is, because this is a Spring managed component, we can say application context. And if we annotate this with AutoWired, this is going to tell the Spring context to inject a context for us. And let's come in here, we'll write a new test. Get controller from context. And here what we can do, just like we did previously, say my controller equals application context. And we're going to say get bean. And we say my controller class. That. And now we can say do system out, say hello, and let's go ahead and run that. And when we run that, Spring Boot is going to run. It's doing a component scan, picks up my controller, and that is going to be inside the Spring context again. And we can see here, take a look at that. I'm in the controller. Hello, everyone. And also, because of testing, we can also do that directly. Here we can say my controller, and we'll also say AutoWired. Now I'm going to create another test. Let me minimize this output window. And what we're doing here is now we're asking Spring to AutoWire in the application context and the controller. So when this test runs, the Spring context is going to be utilized to provide those instances. So now I do system out. So here now we're going to be taking that my controller, and we'll just do say hello out of that test method. I'm going to come into Gutter and just click on this arrow here to run just that test method. And let's resize this. And I did get it. Okay, so this here exception, so that's coming up. The test context is not seeing the servlet context, and that's because we did not put the web context on that. So that looks like it's a behavior right out of Spring, so that's kind of interesting that it's complaining about that. So the Spring test context says it can't start with web context, and it's kind of an unusual situation that we have just Spring there. So that is okay that it can't see that. Getting some complaints there of the default Spring configuration. However, our test did run as expected. So you can see here that I am getting the console output as expected. And I could write some assertions in the test, make sure that that say hello is returning back the proper string. But the purpose here for the lesson, I want to show you two methods here. The first was through the application context, which is being AutoWired. This is dependency injection working from Spring. So Spring is injecting the application context, and I'm asking it for an instance of the controller. In the second case, I'm saying inject a controller instance. So we're doing the same thing two different ways. So one, we're asking the application context for it. The second, we are telling Spring to AutoWire that bean into our test and then execute the test against that. So two different ways of doing the same thing, but here we are seeing Spring's dependency injection in action, providing us beans that are inside the Spring context.